key. Let me see you walk. Now, turn and look at that wall. Now step over that crack. Yes, that's right. The evening arrived, however, that was Louisa's 19th birthday, for she had come into the world at 8:45 of a summer's dusk. The aunt had been out as usual, gleaning from the mire, and as usual, Louisa had got on with her few allotted chores and otherwise spent the time looking in the mirror over the mantel. For this was Louisa's hobby. In her strange and boring life, she had found one interest: her beautiful face, her long black satin hair, the elegant patterns she made as she moved in the stances her aunt had grafted to her. When the aunt set her tasks, Louisa would get enjoyment in watching her own graceful hands at the work. It was true, they were brown from the sun, but even so, a better pair of hands could not be imagined. "Put on your rings," the aunt would say, and Louisa would put on the twists of bark and paper, and herself imagine the great fiery rubies and weeping sapphires pictured in the books. So, Louisa was looking at herself in the mirror when her aunt returned from the mire, out of breath and croaking like a frog. "Louisa! Louisa!" "Yes, aunt?" "At last, I found them. I found them in the reeds. For 20 years I've searched them out. I knew they must be there. And now I have them, plucked in my basket. The key to enormous dreams." Louisa said again in her phonetically taught, accentless and cultured tones, "Yes, aunt," and went back to the mirror. Unlike her aunt, she was not a slut. Her person and the mirror, as it were, her territory, were always as clean and pristine as she could make them. The aunt began to brew a foul-smelling concoction on the range, and presently Louisa left the cottage. She stood and admired the stars and the will-o'-the-wisps flitting on the bog, though they were a poor substitute. It was with slight amazement that Louisa discovered her aunt calling her back, near midnight, into the house. Never before had this tyrant shown any need to share her work with the simples. Now she seemed over-brimming, like her cauldron. At least, the awful smell had gone. Indeed, a faint fragrance, indefinable, hung over the cottage's congealed air. "Louisa, sit down." "Yes, aunt." "Do you see?" The aunt held up a rare glass phial, scoured abnormally of muck. In it was a colourless, oily liquid. "Oh, yes, aunt." "There are 3 things that grow in much mire," said the aunt in a silly sing-song voice, her eyes half closed, "and that grow nowhere else together, and seldom anywhere. Find them in one spot, take them, and make them up. From them comes this dew. Oh, Louisa, listen carefully. This stuff grants the gift of death." Louisa widened her eyes, but she was not actually impressed. Death was everywhere in the mire, and especially often in her aunt's nasty bottles. "Listen," said the aunt again. "The poison in this bottle leaves no trace as it kills. In the world beyond the mire, this can mean much, I've told you. There are towns along the moors, and great houses piled up with money and jewels. If every cobweb on that ceiling was changed to banknotes, it would be nothing to them." "And the streets and roofs are paved with gold," said Louisa. "Yes," said the aunt, who had never been there, or had forgotten. "What we'll do is this. Tomorrow we'll leave the mire by Ghost Horse Path. We'll seek for just such a rich place. Then I'll know how to go on. You shall pretend to be a lost lady, as I've trained you. I'll act your slave or servant, if they don't have slaves anymore, but you'll do as I say."
Para seguir escuchando este audiolibro gratuitamente, haz clic en el enlace de la descripción y podrás escucharlo completo sin coste gracias a la prueba de 30 días de Audible.